Good morning, fourth graders. Today is Wednesday. It must be April 8th today. Just some reminders. Don't forget to go out and use some of those other apps that you have. Get out and get some fresh air. I think it was rainy kind of yesterday. Should be good today. Get out and get some air. And don't forget about reading every day, okay? And then go in and don't forget about your folders in Dojo where the 3 of your fourth grade teachers have posted some suggestions for you to try. All right, today's read aloud in the city of Ember. I think yesterday, Lena was a messenger heading off to Clary, who is the head of the greenhouse, and she had a message from someone to Clary, and it's gonna prove, I think, a little bit scary for us. I don't know if scary is the right word. A little bit curious. All right, so Lena leaned down to Clary and said, I have a message for you. It's from Arbin Swin. It says, please add 4 extra crates to my order, 2 of potatoes, 2 of cabbages. Clary frowned. But I can't do that, she said. At least I can send him cabbages, but only 1 small crate of potatoes. Why? Asked Lena. Well, we have a problem with the potatoes. We do? Said Lena. What is it? Clary had a habit of answering questions in the briefest possible way. You had to keep asking and asking before she would believe you really wanted to know and weren't just being polite. Then she would explain, and you could see how much she knew and how much she loved her work. I'll show you, she said. She led the way to a bed where the green leaves were spotted with black. A new disease. I haven't seen it before. When you dig up the potatoes, they're runny inside instead of hard, and they stink. I'm going to have to throw out all the ones in this bed. There are only a few beds left that are not infected. Most people in Ember had potatoes at every meal. They mashed them, boiled them, stewed them, roasted them. They'd had fried potatoes, too, in the days before the cooking oil ran out. Oh, I'd hate it if we didn't have any more potatoes, Lena said. Yes, me too, said Clary. They sat on the edge of the potato bed and talked for a while about Lena's grandmother and the baby, about the trouble Clary was having with the beehives, and about the greenhouse sprinkler system. Well, it hasn't worked since, Clary hesitated and glanced sideways at Lena. Well, she said, for a long time. She didn't want to say since your father died, and Lena understood that. She stood up. I should go, she said. I have to take Arbin Swin the answer to his message. Oh, I hope you'll come again, said Clary. You can come whenever. You can come any time. Lena said thank you and turned to go, but just outside the greenhouse door she heard running footsteps and a strange, high, sobbing sound. Or rather, she heard sobs and then a wail and sobs and then a shout and then more sobs getting louder. She looked back toward the rear of the greenhouses, toward the trash heaps. Clary, she said, there's something. Clary came out and listened too. Do you hear it? Lena asked. Yes, said Clary. She frowned. I'm afraid it's someone who... She peered toward the crying noise. Yes, here he comes. Her strong hand gripped Lena's shoulder for a moment. You'd better go. I'll take care of this. But wait, Lena said. What is this? Never mind. Just go. Lena wanted to see. Once Clary had walked away, she ducked behind the tool shed, and from there she watched. The noise came closer. Out behind the trash heaps a figure appeared. It was a man, running and stumbling, his arms flopping. He looked as if he was about to fall over, as if he could hardly pick up his feet. In fact, as he came closer, he did fall. He tripped over a hose and crumpled to the ground as if his bones had dissolved. Clary stooped down and said something to him in a voice too low for Lena to hear. The man was panting. When he turned over and sat up, Lena saw that his face was scratched and his eyes wide open in fright. His sobs had turned into hiccups. She recognized him. It was Sage Merrill, one of the clerks in the supply depot. He was a quiet, long-faced man who always looked worried. Clary helped him to his feet. The 2 of them came slowly toward the greenhouse, and as they got closer, Lena could hear what the man was saying. He spoke very fast in a weak, trembly voice, hardly stopping for breath. We're sure I could do it. I said to myself, just one step forward, and that's all, one step, just after another, one step. I knew it'd be dark, just one step. Who doesn't know that? But I thought, well, dark can't hurt you, just one step. I'll just keep going, I thought, and He stumbled and sagged against Clary. Careful, Clary said. They reached the door of the greenhouse, and Clary struggled to open it. Without thinking, Lena darted out from behind the tool shed and opened it for her. Clary shot her a quick frown, but said nothing. Sage didn't stop talking. But then the farther I went, the darker. Well, you can't just keep just one step and black and dark. And can you just one step? It's like a wall in front of you. I kept turning around and looking at the lights of the just one step city because that's all there was to see. And then I'd say to myself, don't look back, just one step, keep moving. But I kept tripping and falling, and the ground is rough out there. I scraped my hands, just one step. He held up one hand and stared at the red scratches on it, which oozed drops of blood. They got him into Clary's office and sat him down in her chair, but he continued to ramble on. Be brave, I said to myself. I kept going, just one step, and then all of a sudden I thought, step, anything could be out here, there, step, but there could be a pit of 1,000 feet deep right in front of me, step, just one step, there could be something, just one step, that bites. I had heard stories, rats as big as garbage bins, and I had to get out of there, so I turned around, I ran, just one more step, just one. Never mind, said Clary. You're all right now. Lena, get some water. Lena found a cup and filled it from the sink in the corner. Sage took it with a shaking hand and drank it down. What were you looking for? Lena asked. She knew what she would have been looking for if she'd gone out there. She'd thought about countless times. Sage stared at her. He seemed to have to puzzle over her question, and finally he said, I was one step looking for something, just one more step to help us. What would it be? Lena asked. I don't know, like a stairway that leads somewhere maybe, or just one step, or a building full of, I don't know, just one step useful things. But you didn't find anything. Did you see anything? Lena asked, slightly disappointed. Nothing, there's nothing out there, nothing, just one step. His voice became a shout and his eyes looked wild again. Or if there is, we can never get to it, never, just one step, not without a light. He took a long, shaky breath for a while. He stared at the floor and then stood up. I think I'm all right. I need to be going. With uncertain steps, he went down the path and out the door. Well, said Clary, I'm sorry that happened while you were here. I was afraid you might be scared. That's why I told you to go. But Lena was full of questions, not fear. She had heard tales of people who tried to go out into the unknown regions. She had thought about it herself. In fact, she had wondered the same things as Sage had. She had imagined making her way out into the dark and coming to a wall in which she would find the door to a tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel would be the other city, the city of light that she had dreamed about. All it would take was the courage to walk away from Ember and into the darkness, and then just keep going. It might have been possible if you'd carry a light to show the way, but in Ember there was no such thing as a light you could carry with you. Outside lights were fixed to their poles or to the roofs of houses. Inside lights were set into the ceiling or had cords that had to be plugged in. Over the course of Ember's history, various clever people had tried to invent a movable light, but all of them had failed. One man had managed to ignite the end of a stick of wood by holding it against the electric burner of his stove. He'd run across the city with the flaming stick, planning to use it to light his journey, but by the time he got to the trash heaps, his torch had gone out. Other people latched on to this idea. One woman who lived on Deadlock Street, very near the edge of the city, managed to get into the unknown regions with her flammable stick, but the stick burned quickly, and before she could go far, the flames singed her hands and she threw it down. Everyone who had tried to penetrate the unknown regions had come back within a few hours, their enterprise a failure. Leary and Clary stood by the open door of the greenhouse and watched Sage shuffle toward the city. As he neared the trash heaps, however, 2 guards who had been sitting on the ground got to their feet. They walked over to Sage, and each one took hold of one of his arms. Oh, no, whispered Clary. Those guards are always looking for trouble. But Sage hasn't broken any laws, said Lena. Oh, it doesn't matter. They need something to do. They'll go get some fun out of scaring him. One of the guards was shaking his finger at Sage and saying something in a voice almost loud enough for Lena to hear. Oh, poor man, said Clary with a sigh. He's the 4th one this year. The guards were marching Sage away now, one of on either side of him. Sage looked limp and small between them. What do you think is out there, Clary? In the unknown regions? Lena asked. Clary stared down at the ground where the light from the greenhouse was casting long, thin shadows of them both. I don't know. Nothing, I guess. And do you think Ember is the only light in the dark world? Clary sighed. I don't know, she said. She gave Lena a long look. Her eyes, Lena thought, looked a little sad. They were a deep brown, almost the color of the earth in the garden bed. Clary put a hand in her pocket and drew something out. Look, she said. In the palm of her hand was a white bean. Something in this seed knows how to make a bean plant, she whispered. How does it know? I don't know, said Lena, staring at the hard, flat bean. It knows because it has life inside of it. I don't know, said Lena, staring at the bean. But, said Clary, where does it come from? What is life? Lena could see that words were welling up in Clary now. Her eyes were bright, her cheeks were rosy. Take a lamp, for instance. When you plug it in, it comes alive. It lights up. That's because it's connected to a wire that's connected to the generator, which is making electricity, though don't ask me how. But a bean seed isn't connected to anything. Neither are people. We don't have plugs and wires that connect us to generators. What makes living things go is inside them somehow. Her dark brows beetled together over her eyes. What I mean is, she finally said, something is going on that nobody understands. They say the builders made the city. But who made the builders? Who made us? I think the answer must be somewhere outside of the unknown regions. I don't know. She brushed her hands together in a time to get back to work way. Clary, said Lena quickly, here's what I think. Her heart sped up. She hadn't told this to anyone before. In my mind, Lena says, I see, and that's where we're going to stop. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday. Bye.